You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Y&R fans. This is Soap Dirt on YouTube, and we want to talk about Phyllis Summers and how she should pay for what she's done. Because whether you're Team Phyllis or Team Diane, I think we can all agree that what Phyllis has done has crossed a line, and there needs to be some accountability. There needs to be some sort of repercussions for what she has done, because Red likes to get obsessed with things, and Phyllis schemes and plots, and everybody warns her. They tell her, stop scheming and plotting, because they can see the wheels turning in her brain. She won't ever stop. She won't ever back down. She's gone way too far this time, and there needs to be some accountability, right? She has lied and ruined Diane's reputation. Diane is in jail for crimes she didn't commit. She killed Jeremy Stark. It was in self-defense. We're not saying she shouldn't have done it. She should have done it, but there still has to be some accountability for that. She lied to everyone in Genoa City by faking her death. She has crushed her children, and now she is putting her children in a tough spot. Summer knows that her mom is alive. She knows that she should go to the police, but Phyllis has asked her for time. And so Summer's in this position where she is now leaving her mother-in-law in jail, knowing that it's wrong, knowing that she shouldn't be there, knowing that this is 100% her mother's fault. Right now, the position that Summer is in, she knows that everything Diane said was the truth, and everything her mom said was a lie. Now, Phyllis can claim that she knows that Diane is up to no good. That's what she is theorizing in her head. She's all twisted up. She's been twisted up since Diane came back. But by all appearances, Diane has actually done the work and redeemed herself and is a different person. Phyllis can't buy it. Phyllis has to assume that Diane is tricking everybody to get this forgiveness. But Phyllis isn't really doing the math on the fact that all these people in their lives have also forgiven Phyllis for a million bad things. She thinks that Jack has gone overboard forgiving Diane for walking out and abandoning their son. Phyllis has slept with Jack's brother. She has cheated repeatedly on Jack. She has broken Jack's heart. She has ripped Jack's family apart. There's a lot of things she has done that were pretty heinous herself, and she's gotten forgiveness for all these. But right now, the scenario we're in, Phyllis has come back this week. Summer is going to make Daniel listen to her. She's going to make him listen and say, I know you think I was hallucinating. I am not. Our mother is 100% alive. Our mother killed Stark. This all spills out, and it looks like Daniel will finally believe her, because Summer has details about how Stark died that Chance and the police have not released to the public. For instance, she knows that he was stabbed. As a matter of fact, she knows he was stabbed with scissors, and nobody should know that because the murder weapon that we know of hasn't been found. And so Summer is about to be in the hot seat, but it looks like Daniel will finally believe her. The question is, how long will Daniel and Summer keep this secret? Because there has to be a reckoning. So let's talk about what Phyllis's punishment should be. Let's first consider, should she go to prison? Think about the case of Lily Winters. Remember when Lily Winters was in that car accident and she wasn't even doing anything particularly horrible. She just wasn't paying attention, and she was sent to prison for it. We saw scenes of Lily for months in her prison orange. She had a hard time in jail, but it was good for her. It was a period of growth. All that stuff happened, but she did so much less than what Phyllis Summers has done and went to prison. So should Phyllis have some time behind bars? No doubt, especially because Diane is spending time in jail right now for lies and schemes that Phyllis set up. They say you shouldn't do the crime unless you can do the time. And in some cases like this, where she was basically setting Diane up for life in prison for premeditated murder, it seems like Phyllis deserves a timeout. She should have a timeout behind bars in the itchy orange scrubs, and that's where Summer and Daniel should have to see her. Diane should get to come by and taunt her. She needs at least, I don't know, let's say 6 months behind bars. Can we agree? Share a note in the comments below on how long you think Phyllis should be behind bars. I personally feel like it should be a little bit of time. 6 months really would be a slap on the wrist for what she's done. Now, the question is, if they send Phyllis to prison, will she actually regret her actions and use that time to consider how she gets spun up and how she gets out of control with her schemes? Or would she come out bitter, angry, and looking for more revenge? That's the dichotomy of sending her to prison. Is it could really teach her a lesson, or it could just make her bitter and want more revenge. There has to be some sort of payback from her towards Jack, Diane, and Kyle. She owes amends and apologies. She took Jack's fiance from her. She took Kyle's mother from her when he finally got her back in his life. She took Harrison's Dee Dee, as Harrison calls Diane his Dee Dee, his grandma. They have been lying to this poor kid to explain why Dee Dee, who was devoted to him and saw her every day, why she's suddenly out of his life, which is heartbreaking for little Harrison. So there needs to be some kind of apology and amends made there to what she has done to the Abbotts. And then it seems like Phyllis deserves some sort of timeout. She needs some time, and this is just us speculating and talking about what should happen. She needs some time out as the town pariah, as someone who nobody wants to give the time of day. She kind of needs to suffer some social consequences. Now, in terms of her co-conspirators, I would imagine that Ashley and Nikki would remain sympathetic to her despite it all, because they are all three very certain that Diane is still up to no good. This coven of three started this whole thing, but it was Phyllis who brought Stark back to town, who wreaked havoc on everyone. But it seems like she still needs to do a timeout, and that she needs to pay some social consequences where people kind of shun her until they get over it, because, you know, nobody in Genoa City has clean hands, and after a couple of months, you know, let it slide. If she goes to jail for, say, 6 months, then she'd have paid her dues, and people can be kind to her and just say that, you know, we know you got really spun up. But it definitely seems like Phyllis needs some sort of timeout. She needs some sort of jail time, because that is a fair consequence for what she's done. She shouldn't be sent away forever, but enough time to make a dent. And she needs to issue some legit apologies, and reasonably, she needs to bury the hatchet with Diane. She needs to accept that until Diane does something that shows otherwise, Phyllis needs to zip it and stay in her lane. If Diane really is scheming, if Diane really is bad, then Diane will dig her own grave eventually. But it's not up to Phyllis to dig it, and Phyllis needs to pay some consequences. Share in the comments below what you think should happen to Phyllis. If you haven't already clicked subscribe, click that below so you don't miss any of our top Young and the Restless updates and spoilers. And definitely let us know, do you think that Phyllis should get away scot-free with all this? Should she pay no price for her actions, or should she spend some time behind bars? Let us know what you think.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.